4. Ah, this might be it. Oh my god, I'm still going! Ah, no, that feed! What's up, guys? It's Bond Network here. You probably thought I was playing Modern Warfare 19 on Azir Cave or something like that, but no, this is Battlefield 6, and I'm blown away at the quality that they've been showing us, and just, it's a total 180 compared to 2042, and we all know how they completely ruined us back then, so I'm super, super happy to be playing just a quality FPS again, and I'm just so happy. So, and it's clear they're taking a lot of inspiration from, that game and many other games in the past as well. I mean, with the dragging especially, that just is, it's great. I mean, some people could say, oh, it's from BattleBit or whatever, but, maybe not. But the point is that they are just, they're innovating and they are taking every step forward, which is just, it's just fantastic. So, well, without further ado, I am just kind of a small creator. I know I don't really have a big voice, but it's best that I just kind of get this out there because of just me being an average player. I just want to give my feedback and throw this out into the wind and see where it goes. Super happy that anyone's here, and I hope you can enjoy some of the fun gameplay that I have in the back. I definitely have a really good tank run, and then I'll talk a little bit about the tanks when that gameplay pops up. So I only have 5 points of what I think the game needs to work on. I do want to talk about what I love first, but I also want to preface that I believe that there is a lot that is going to just be in the final product of the game. Typically with betas, I understand that this is really the final product and they're just trying to get this out in a large open environment that they're trying to see what needs to be fixed in terms of design level. And I don't expect too much to change. I get that from a developer perspective, as I've had some individual game development experience with Unreal Engine and former projects as well, so I get it. I'm not expecting so much to change. I'm not going to hold my breath on it, but it's just worth getting this out there. But first, I want to talk about what I love. Obviously, I just love the quality. The guns feel great. The movement is great. It is just, it has such a great framework already, and that says a lot compared to what we already needed to be talking about with the last game. I mean, 2042, I'll never forget. I mean, the mouse input didn't even work, and it still doesn't work. Everything just felt clunky, the hit detection, everything. And this game just, there's none of that. I mean, my bullets are hitting. My character feels like I know where he's going. Everything about how it plays is great, and I have no complaints about that. And I hope they just improve that and expand it in the future, because it's, and even if they don't, I'm fine with where it is now. It's great. I personally love how the vehicles are right now. I know there's people that are like, the helicopter is just super wacky, and I will say the helicopter has played in the most different way that I've ever seen in a Battlefield game. It definitely has more advanced controls, where there's a yawning to go up and down, and then there's your WASD buttons. Like, I'm a PC player, so I'm talking in that perspective, but there's a lot of different buttons now for the helicopter, and I'm not a jet guy. I don't know if I'll ever play the jet. I might do a little bit, but I'm sure the jet probably plays a little different too. But the helicopter, I don't know. I'm a fan of how it is. It's definitely more skillful, and I think that's great. I would prefer it to get buffed if they're going to make it more complicated to fly, because it just dies so soon. And I know that's more of a negative, but just while we're on it, I like how the helicopter is. It's just, if they're going to make it more difficult to fly, they better make it more powerful to stay in the air, because I think all it takes is one rocket. Doesn't matter if it's a guided, locked on, or an RPG. It's just, that's it. You're gone. And all that work trying to stay in the air, it just doesn't feel worth it to have to basically juggle eggshells while you're trying to fly a helicopter, and it's really strange. So I'm sure they will work on that in the future, because I just don't see how the helicopter could really be used right, and what the point will be in future maps that have more air dominance. So we'll just have to see. But I do think that the tanks are in a good place right now, but they could use some work. I just love how tanky they are, which is great. It's very similar to 2042. That's the one compliment that I always carried with 2042. As much as I hated that game, I think the tank gameplay was the best I've ever seen in a video game. I mean, you can just dominate a whole match just by yourself in a tank with the auto heal that was on a timer, with how it had enough health to carry yourself and to allow you to back away and then heal and then get back in there. I mean, you can just carry the match with your own tank. And the best of all is they opened up 3-4 different seats in the vehicle so that your teammates could play a role in the tank. And it allowed it to really dominate the map, where your gunner's seat has a role, and the gunner can switch between different weapons to accommodate a different way of fighting, and then the third seat can be an anti-tank seat, and then the fourth is just spotting, and it just was great. And I really hope that either they expand the tank where it is right now. That's a huge hope, because there isn't a design like that. It's just a gunner and a driver right now. It would be great if maybe future tanks, because I'm sure they'll add different ones in the future, that they could have more seats that can accommodate more team gameplay. That's a negative that I do want to say, is that there's just not enough team gameplay. Everyone just kind of feels like they're in it for themselves, and I know that's kind of a Battlefield thing as well, but I think the one thing they did with 2042 is each sort of character can play a role in their own way. I'm not saying with the specialists, I don't want that again, but I do want more significance with how the character can, meaning the player, can choose what they want to take out, and their role is significant because they are a medic and they are using the medic items, or if they are an engineer, they have more than just the rocket. They can use other sort of gadgets to take advantage of going against tanks, you know. So I want to see more of that. I really want them to get rid of the 2 launchers with the engineers. I don't know what they were thinking. I hope that's just, again, small little gameplay flaws that they can change, but it just makes no sense for why the engineer can run 2 launchers and grenades and potentially more C4. I don't know if they can have that actually, but I know for sure you can take 2 different launchers, and that's just not good. So yeah, I just hope that they can expand the team gameplay with the vehicles, because if they can, I think vehicles can dominate more, because right now they carry very well with the helicopters and the flying vehicles, I guess you could say, is where they die very easily. You need someone to repair you if you want to stand a chance. I mean, there's gameplay in the background with me just dominating very well with the tank, and I'm playing it very well, but I'm only able to do that because I have someone to repair me to stand a chance. If I didn't have that, I'm just gone. So I just wish they had an auto repair button. I just wish they had more seats so that more people can do something, so it's not just me. It's very classic with the older Battlefields, where Battlefield 3 and 4, where it's just the tank and that's it, and you're on your own with it, and maybe that's what they're trying to do again, but I think that's a step backwards for what they did with 2042 and expanding the teamwork of a vehicle. And I think they should really work on that more. So, honestly, that's all the really great things I want to say that I would even modify. I just think the game is in such a great place. The weapons feel great, albeit with some changes, but I think it's in a great place. So, anyway, I'm gonna go over my 5 points of what I hope they can change, or what need to be changed, in my opinion, from what many of the people in the community are saying already. First off, I think it's very obvious it's the TTK, or the time to death, as well, the TTD. So I don't really understand the time to death concept very well. I think that's kind of just subjective, where people say, oh, well, I just feel like I died with one bullet. I don't know how I would change that. I just know that, dying is dying, but feeling like you can't really escape a gunfight is one thing. So that's really what I want to say about the TTK, is if they can just up it up just a little bit so that you just can survive a little longer so you can escape a gunfight, I think that would be perfect. I just feel like whenever I'm shooting someone and I'm getting shot at, and I'm trying to react to get to cover, it's like I die even after I'm in cover. It's something strange where the registry of when I die doesn't register where I'm actually being positioned. So maybe that is the time to death is what they say, but really, I mean, TTK is just simpler concept where I just feel like we need to survive just a little bit longer. People are just dying so quick, and I just don't understand. I don't mind if someone has a little bit more health where I got to do more work. Maybe if the headshots just did more damage or something, I know there's some weapons that definitely need some obvious buffs, like the EBR marksman rifle. That takes like 3 headshots to kill someone. That's just unacceptable. The movement, now, like I said, the movement's perfect, but I do think they need some work with how vaulting and mantling and diving work. I'm not saying I want this to be like Call of Duty. I know they really expanded that with Modern Warfare 2, but with Modern Warfare 2, it worked really seamless, and I'll use that as an example where you can mantle and vault over any object very quickly. It's very snappy. And maybe this can just be something they're still working on, because I can tell it's supposed to be snappy, but it just isn't. Like, there are walls I'm trying to get over, and I know I could get over it, but I can't. And maybe I'm just desensitized with how Call of Duty has done that, where they've innovated the movement to just go over anything. But I would like to see more of that to expand with how we can get over walls and sort of mantle off of a wall. Meaning to jump on it, then jump off of it. I'm not saying to jump on it and shoot from it. I don't think that needs to exist. That's a little arcadey that can stay in COD, but a little bit of some advanced movement from how you're traveling the map with getting over walls and being able to probably dive a little bit further, because I will say the dive is just sort of you're just plopping right down. But it would be nice to dive away from gunfire, because with this sort of, they don't have omni movement, but they do have that sort of get on your back and shoot from your back ability, and that would be nice for us to do if we could do it on our side. Because I will say, as much as Black Ops 6 is just total garbage, that omni movement is something that is a huge bonus to FPS, and they could take a note from that. I think that'd be great. So anyway, vehicles, I already touched on this a little bit, but with tanks specifically, it needs a buff, and that's all I'll say, because I kind of already expanded that already. The fourth topic is gun attachment concern, and I am detecting a lot of filler attachments already in the game. And that's a big worry for me, because there should never, ever, under any circumstance for an FPS game to have filler attachments. And what I mean by that is obviously in Modern Warfare 3, the newer one, I mean, there were just hundreds of attachments. I want to say there became hundreds of attachments, and dozens of them were the same thing. It was just the same attachment, but it looked different, and that cannot be a thing. I think that especially was a thing during Cold War and Call of Duty, Black Ops Cold War, where there would be a laser sight, and it would tell you it does 10% extra hipfire accuracy, right? And then the second attachment after that is another laser, but it does 20% hipfire accuracy. So now you ask yourself, why would you ever use that first laser sight? Why? There's no reason. So you're using just that new laser sight because it's clear that you would always need to use that if you were making a hipfire build, or if that you simply wanted a little bit of extra hipfire accuracy. That just is not something that should be in any FPS game that has an attachment system like this, or even with Call of Duty having this gunsmith system. There are some attachments already that do that, and they need to either find new purposes for those attachments or just remove it. That cannot be a thing. If you're going to have one laser that improves your long distance accuracy, then you have a laser for that. Or if you have a laser that improves your hipfire accuracy, then you'll have that one, and you can choose which one that you want. But having two of them that does the same thing and then a third one that has a mix of it, that just shouldn't be. If you're going to have one that does a mix of both worlds, great, but there needs to be proper debuffs. There needs to be proper counters for using these attachments, because it just shouldn't be a crutch. They call it crutch perks, and then there's crutch attachments where it's like if you don't use it, you're just simply at a disadvantage, and that just isn't good. That doesn't do good variety for anyone. So I hope that does not become a thing in the future. So anyway, the last topic I'm going to talk about, which is the big controversial one that people have been talking about before the game was even announced, is class-locked weapons. And I'm going to be saying the unpopular opinion here. I think there should not be class-locked weapons. I think it should be open, and I'll tell you why. Think with what Battlefield is doing with their small-time modes, Domination and King of the Hill right now with the beta. I think they are trying to open up a lane of gameplay besides just the large-scale experience that Battlefield is used to. And it does not make sense to sort of lock weapons when you are playing a mode like that. I mean, think about it. Like, why would you, like, what's the point for the engineer class if there's no vehicles to take out and there's no, there's nothing to repair? Like, it just doesn't, like, that class itself is useless in that mode. So by essentially having everything open, it just gives the variety that people can have on how they want to play whenever they want to play. And I get people who just want to level up a gun, but the only way they can level up that gun is if they play a certain class. But what if they don't want to play that role? They just want to level up the LMGs, right? And they just want to sit and mount, which technically plays the role of support. They're just suppressing fire, but they're finding a spot that looks good and they're mounting up, and they're just trying to level up their LMG, or they're just trying to level up their sniper, or they're just trying to level up the shotgun, and they're just trying to play whatever they can so they can use that weapon. Well, why not just unlock the potential for them to, let's say, the assault class, they can use the stim, so it helps them out if they're running around, and they can use a stim and stay in the game, right? For the recon, they can, hold up, like find a little spot, put the tug down, and use the LMG so they know if someone's sneaking up behind them, right? And they can utilize that with the sniper. It just, having, the class locked weapons specifically just doesn't make sense when someone wants to utilize a weapon and a gadget at the same time. So just why not just save the hassle and just pick a lane, keep it open, and if what they are saying with Portal is true, we can just make our own servers and class lock it. It already can be done with these playlists. So let's just do it with our own servers, and I'm sure those servers are going to be very popular and very well done. But when it comes to the grand scale of the regular game, I think to just simplify things, it should just be open. It just doesn't make sense, and it's just going to make it more complicated and even more divisive with how people want to play the game. If they want to level up, because people like level up in their weapons and they like leveling up their vehicles, and sometimes they just want to use what they want to use and not actually play the game, which sounds weird, but why not just let them do that rather than restricting them? Because at that point they're going to be using that role where someone in a vehicle needs repairs, but they're just trying to level up their SMG and they're playing like an assault character. So like I said, I think it should just be open. I know that's controversial, but for simplicity's sake, they need to just pick a lane and just have us have the option to make our own servers with class lock weapons. That's it. That's pretty much it, guys. Sorry if I went too much on certain topics, but I just kind of wanted to be unfiltered and just a little unscripted to just tell you about how my experience is, and hopefully you enjoyed hearing me out. And if you liked some of my gameplay in the background, feel free to come check out my Twitch, because that's where I like to kind of just play games and talk with people. It's always a great time. Would love to talk more about my unhomelessness, because I've been going through that for a while. I finally have a new place and really happy to talk about it. So thanks so much for listening, and hope you guys have a great day. We'll see you next time. God, can we, like, get some extra engineers to fucking rocket that tank? We won that fight, just saying. It's a draw then. It's a draw then. God damn it, where the fuck are all these people coming from, man? God. Alright, alright.
totally dead now.